Hello, hello, hello. Okay, you know. There we go. We're going. I'm gonna make a new 2D soon, and yeah. So let's get to it. Continue. So it's like the first day of school or so, and yeah. Let me. Okay. Become comfortable. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. They left you a serving of food. From breakfast they made hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad. There was a few sausage links. It was tasty. You appreciate there was variety in your meal your mom made. The day lazily drifted at home. Oh wait, never mind, it's not school. Drifted by at home. Yeah, it's summer, sorry. I don't know why. Eventually, your parents returned. You pulled over the fridge again, lingering in the frost air for a moment before grabbing a bottle of ice cold water and taking a long drink. It was perfect. Balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. You stepped out of the front door and onto the street, deciding which way to go first, when a voice caught your eye. Mr. Holden? Hi, Destiny. Confused, you looked over where the unrecognizable woman was waving at you, a friendly smile plastered on her face. You wrecked your memory. Oh, is it like a long-time relative? You wrecked your memory for where you might have seen her, but nothing came in mind. Not your school, not from the country club your mom took you to. You had absolutely no idea who this woman was. The woman crossed the road towards you. You were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back to the house and lock the doors. Oh, is this the mom of Cove? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? Oh, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? I heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? Yep, that's Cove's mother. You shook her head. She removed her sunglasses to reveal a sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little bit more familiar. My son lives here, and my ex too. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point at the condo across the street from your own house. She was Cove's mom. You didn't know why she had realized sooner. You didn't know why you hadn't realized that sooner. Now that you've gotten a good look at her. She seemed nice. Her attitude was friendly, and it seemed like she was genuinely happy to meet you. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra. You shook her hand. You reached out to route. You reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. I'm Destiny, but you already know that. That I do. Cove's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Destiny. He did. Cove and I aren't really friends. I also heard that. Maybe that'll change one day. What are you doing here? I come to visit this summer to spend time with Cove and see the site. They say this is a tourist town, right? I have a feeling like she's nice, but she's kind of like, oh. The sound of door opening and closing caught you both of your attention, and you turn towards the sound of it to find Cove exiting his house, his eyes skimming the ground. Considering how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was more on the short side. Really? Really? For an adult anyway. Cove's tight step came from his father. There you are! I thought you were gonna keep me standing out here all day. You said nothing as Cove walked over to the two of you. He finally looked up and noticed you were there, raised his eyebrow curiously. You couldn't tell if the expression that crossed his face was confusion or relief. Cove and I are headed into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Trevor beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, Destiny. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. You're a little taken back to Cove's agreement. I think she's like, oh, la 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 la, and then something goes wrong. She's gonna be like, yeah. I think that's how he broke his arm. You hadn't imagined being stuck with him and suddenly appearing mom for the afternoon, especially not if he was going to be gloomy the whole time. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first, responsibility and all that. It'll give me an excuse to meet them. I need to do that at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on the street for some time. What is roosting? Roosting definition. Oh no. I guess that's being too early and making a lot of noise. Roosting on the street for some time being. Anywho, let's go. Tyra walked towards your house and you hung back up with Cove, who crinkled his nose as he watched her. I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want to be just the two of us, not right now. I didn't know your mom was coming over. Don't you usually go wherever she is? Yeah, she's gonna be staying with us for the summer. She just got here this morning. It was a surprise they planned. His face scrunched up. As a kid, he was like, I want to go home, I want to see mom, or something like that. But now I think he's realized that she's not a good person. His face scrunched up more, united understanding. Cove had been like through a lot with both his parents in the past few years. It seemed like it was still taking some time to adjust. The two of you headed over to where Cove had just knocked on your door and stood behind her. Mom answered the door after a minute, her eyes left in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realized that she would have no idea it was Cove's mom hanging out with you. However, blinking at the woman a couple of times, looking between her and Cove, realizing seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela. I seen you met my kid Destiny, and I'm guessing you already know Cove for a while. Kyra laughed, and you and Cove exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kyra Priest, Cove's mother. It's so nice to meet you. And a head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Mel popped up behind Mom, squeezing herself beside her. We have company. I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kyra. She grinned excitedly at Kyra. Then the two of them introduced themselves and shook hands. Hi, Destiny, Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly, and she gestured a hand towards the living room. There's no use of hanging around here in the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want you to hold you up with a surprise visit. Oh, I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time. I'll take you up on that offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Destiny went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving. It's just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that would be nice. I hope you all have fun. You gave your mom a look and they smiled at you fondly. Seemed like Cove needed the support and you were starting to feel pretty hungry anyway. Marvelous. Expect us back in an hour or two. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up onto the street. Okay, there was a sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurant when I was in the taxi not too far from here. Yeah, it's a tourist town, isn't it? There's a lot of them around here. It's kind of strange to see Cove, someone with this much attitude. If he was in the mood to be nice, he'd generally just keep it to himself. Cara put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. That's not a good smile. Well, you sound like an area expert. Do you have any recommendation for a place nearby? Not really. Cara pouted at him a little, then turned to you instead. How about you, Destiny? Want to point me at the right direction? Nodded. You've been in a lot of places in town. You know a couple of good ones. There's a Chinese restaurant me and my family go to all the time. It's my mom's favorite. There's also a tropical place that tries to be sort of fancy. Both sounds like a treat. I'll leave you to pick for us since Cove is going through a phase over here. He huffed at her and turned his face away. It's okay, Cove. Tell us which you want more. He mumbled sulkily, wanting this to be over. I like the tropical place more. That's what I would have gone for too. The two votes in favor of one restaurant. It seemed excitingly. We can go there. Thank you, Destiny. Will you show us the way? United, taking the lead of your little group as Coven's mom followed behind you. Let's serve! Together, all three of you left the neighborhood behind. It was about 15 minutes, and along the way, Kara asked a lot of questions about the area. Cove was quiet most of the time, so you ended up answering her instead. Kara explained that she lived in a large city, but she loved how peaceful and relaxing everything seems in Sunset Bird. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. Kara lowered herself into the chair while Cove picked the one dialogue to her, not facing her or to her. It was awkward. Let's see. To start, what would you all like to drink? I'll get the orange soda. Noted. Destiny? Water is hot. Just water. Lemon or anything? There's sugar on the table. Lemon. Sure. Kara placed an order for your drink. While getting a black hot coffee for herself, it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menu, deciding what to order. The last time you came here, the dish you ordered was amazing. You wanted to order something different this time. Kara and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals were ordered and the menus were taken away. You glanced at the table, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove sunk back further into his seat, avoiding eye contact. He started to twiddle with his thumb while acting like this was perfectly normal. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions, he brushed off. Kara had mercy on her son, and instead put her focus towards you. So, Destiny, what is a few things you're into? It's gotta be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. Fashion. Clothes. Understandable. I just love the way fashion lets you express yourself no matter who you are. Jewelry. Yes, it's hard to resist those little shiny treasures. She lifted her wrist as she spoke, jiggling many bracelets they were hanging around it. And I go to the beach and look for seashells. I keep the best ones I find from her collection. I'm sure it's an incredible collection. Swim. You must be a strong swimmer since you live so close to the ocean. I find the water a little scary, but I still like to dip my toes in sometimes. And what else? Music. Guitar, bass, piano, drums, violin. Okay. Next roll. I play the microphone, it's great. I played a thing, heard of it? And I, thanks, I'm having to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Cove leaves out the details. Uh, so what exactly did Cove say about me? Kara laughed and holding her hand in front of her mouth. I can't tell you that. I didn't come all this way to embarrass my son too much. Kids are delicate at this age. She laughed again. He laughed at Cove to see, glanced at Cove to see his reaction. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Hoping it would clear some tension in the air, you decided to ask her a few things of your own. Cove hasn't told you much about her, but you are curious to learn more about this woman who was a big part of his life. What do you do? What do you exactly do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop. Oh, she just came here to get a free vacation and just write stuff and then just pretend to be close to, pretend to come for Cove. I keep people in the loop of what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. I would, but that's kind of straightforward. I'll ask Cove if I can. Where you live normally? Nevada. Have you been there? No? You shook your head. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. What do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, and traveling. A real shock, huh? I really want to do this, but I'm not. It didn't seem to bother her that the conversation dropped off. Cove sipped on his soda angrily, slurping out the remaining drink with his furrowed eyebrows. He looked like he was ready to run straight out of the restaurant. You wondered if he was annoyed that you were spending the time talking to his mom, but he hadn't seemed to want to talk to her at all. Cove eventually noticed you watching him and you gave him a look to let him know that you were there for him. It took a couple moments, but finally he cracked a smile and that made you feel a little bit better. You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face in his hand and leaned back at his seat. Ah, Mom, why do you say that? You and Cove weren't even friends. Really, it seemed strange for her to say something like that without knowing you. Your meals were delivered shortly. Everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food. Alright, now that we're all full in content, can you explain, please, why you had a bug up your butt all day? Cove's face scrunched up at that. Seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. He gripped the edge of his table, refusing to make eye contact with her. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. She leaned forward, not to miss anything, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally finished, seemed to find his voice and spoke the thought that's been on his mind. That I was going to visit you this year. That you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? Didn't you invite me? You wanted me to be here with you? Cove's eye began to shake, and his frustration ebbed. I don't. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. It's not the same. No one said anything. I see. Her expression grew tense. The thread of fingers together placed her hands in front of her on the table. We've both been gifted. We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to the Clifford surprise almost caused both of you and Cole to crack a smile. You also had no idea his name wasn't Cliff. Over the 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed out her hair out, not letting go of her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay. Oh wait, the more things, something, the more they stay the same. They let out a cynical sigh, but smiled weakly at one another after. I can go home, Cole. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cole's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. I think I do want to stay. I miss it when you're not here. My heart. She reached out across the gap, grabbing his face to plant a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried wriggling away. Mom, stop! I'm sorry, sweet young men need to be smooched by their parent. If they don't, they'll take away my mom license. I was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her face when the conversation continued. You want me to talk to your dad too? No. Cove snapped at the words instantly, reeling but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today. I understand. We can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning your way. And thank you, Destiny. What? What'd I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom, but it's harder to keep that way up with your neighbors watching everything. Mom! She ruffled his hair with a laugh and moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant, Kara had paid the bill. You had walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time you were beginning to feel sleepy, and it didn't help that lunch had happened late, and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. Oh, his hair's long, or he just had it left out. But eventually you reached the street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family, and Destiny too. Cliff, Dad. The two walked past them into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. He rubbed the back of his neck with a quick smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He stood like his mom, don't you think? He gave a furtive nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back far more gently. Yeah, okay, have a nice night, Destiny. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cole's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagine it to be, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having Karen in the neighborhood was a new experience, not for you and Cove, but also both of your families in a dull mood had rarely had. Dinner! Sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It's been shaping up to be an ordinary day, just like any other, till Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So, I was just wondering, do you want to come over to my house for dinner? The question came out strangely, almost he had rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be a reason behind the call. Yeah, go. It was, huh? Oh. It seemed like Cove still had more to say, but you just interrupted him. Yeah, cool. Well, stumbled for a bit, trying to gather his own thoughts again. My mom and dad, they really want you to be here. If your parents don't mind, don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. You took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quite uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove instead. Can you come over? I mean, there'll probably be a big fight in this one. I'll ask my mom. Okay, let me know when you can. It was just you, or did you almost sound comforted by your response? You had to be imagining it. He spoke to you for a little while longer to explain what time to come over and the other details and hung up. And that was that for now anyways. You called Mom right after and she picked up on the third ring. It was a long conversation. She was surprised that you were asking to go to Cove's house for dinner, but she was readily gave you permission for it. Cove got a quick call from you afterwards, so he knew for sure that you were attending dinner. Then you said your goodbyes and went on with the afternoon. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky, evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove. After letting Elizabeth know that you were leaving, she looked away from the TV. Just grunted. You made a small journey across the street. You knocked a couple of times on the heavy door to the condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both of Cove's parents were there. That made you curious. You wonder why they decided to invite you out of the blue. Maybe to find out later tonight. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kyra, stood in frame, smiling warmly at you. Hey, Destiny, welcome. Please come on in. Cove's house. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped aside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Thank you so much for coming over. I know Kinda the last second. Thank you for having me. Of course, just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Destiny, welcome to the humble abode. You jerked her head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen with his back turned and a large spoon at hand. I hope you're hungry, 'cause I'm reaping a lot of tasty stuff. True to his words, you heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled the smelly. It smelled spicy and savory. While Mr. Holden was busy, Cove was nowhere to be seen. It was just you and Kyra. She gave you a wry smile. He sure is. And I've been barred from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden scoffed good naturally, then spoke over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kyra. You need to accept that already. She yelled back in amusement, obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everybody's gotta eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef. Well, in this house, you are VIP. Kara smiled and shook her head quietly. She turned to face you once more. I'm sorry about that, Destiny. Here I was trying to straight up a conversation with you, and Cliff had to butt in. I don't butt in, she eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disapproving her point with that. Karen leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay, he likes to be included, but since Clifford insists on cooking all by himself, he'll have to wait. The two of us can just chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to say, so, how are you doing? I'm good. Kara didn't seem too convinced by your awkward phrasing, but she nodded anyway. She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footstep caught her attention. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall. A few moments later, he might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. You made it. Welcome to my house. Cove attempted a polite smile. It was strained and disappeared quickly. The two of you weren't close, but you could tell he felt uncomfortable by the entire situation. You had known him long enough to realize that. Hey, thank you for inviting me to dinner. You laughed at that. You didn't think he would appreciate you asking him about it, especially not in front of his parents. It was when you glanced away from Cole that you spotted his parents watching the two of you interact. Cole noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. Are we having dinner now? Not yet, bud. I'm still cooking. Alright, I'm gonna go back to my room. Hey! Before you could make his escape, Kara spoke up. Destiny, why don't you go with Cole? I'm sure you'd rather spend time with him. Cole's lips thinned, clearly annoyed at his mom inviting you to his room. You assumed he would protest it, but come on. The words were quiet, though they were definitely directed at you. You're supposed that he'd rather hang out with just you than spend time with his parents right now. You're on Destiny, you don't have to stay out here doing nothing. But it looked like he didn't have much of a choice, so he nodded affirmatively. Cub turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. We'll call you when food's ready to go. With that, you follow Cub and the two of you made your way down the hall. Cub got to the door first, opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. There was a mat on the floor in front of his door. As you stepped over the threshold in his room, you felt the crunch of sand beneath your feet. The sensation was nothing new of you, of course. Cub constantly came back to his room covered in sand, not bothering to clean himself off at the front door and got it all over his personal space. That's how he was, a bit of a mess. You hadn't heard Mr. Holden ever scold him, not like your mom. It would have if you've done it. You can say it whatever you want. Cove himself took a seat at the edge of his large bed, looking like the picture of comfort and left you to the side. There was a desk chair in the room after all. You walked over it, rolled it out, and taking a seat on it. It was stuffed against your butt and creaked each time that you shifted. He definitely used this bed space more than his. Well, too late to complain now. You just have to deal with it. With the silence going, your gaze began to drift. You started at the bright fish swimming in the tank. Stared. There was a bunch of them floating to and from in the open space. They stood out darkly against the green aquamarine plants. How long have you had these fish? My dad bought them for me not very long ago. Not very long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. Wow, that's a long time. He peered carefully into the tank. Fish looked to be doing well. You must take good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? I don't name them. Not really. He left an eyebrow at that. He continued the explanation chiefly. Mostly I just call them things based on what they look like. Squirt for a small one, tangerine for a really big orange one, sort of thing. Yeah, I had a lot of fish and I'm not good at coming up names. Who knew that was a weakness of his, is maintaining elevation. Oh, and a couple of them have types of names too. Pointing to a small orange-ish red one, it was minding its own business away from the others. My dad named her Dreamcatcher and the other one's Mark. Mom came up with that one. Cove smiled to himself, reflecting the glow from the tank. You let other people name your fish? Yeah, it's nice. You got quiet. You're fascinated by the delicate movements of the fish and got lost observing them. As I fell over the two of you for a while, your attention solely on the fish tank. You know I'm not allowed to have pets in my room. Not even a fish. The corner of Cove's lip turned down at that. That doesn't seem fair. Not like a fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of their tank and feed them, and they'll be okay. Right? My mom's too strict. They trust Elizabeth and me to go over around the neighborhood alone, but they wouldn't let us have a pet. It doesn't make sense. Maybe when you're even older, they'll let you. Yeah, they seem pretty against it. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warnings, earring you a brief, confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth came back from playing at the beach and just shut herself in the room. She only came down for food and then ran back upstairs straight after. It was kind of weird. Mom didn't think much of it first. But then that night, Mom went to her room to say goodnight and started screaming. Mom and I ran over to see what what happened, and Lizzie had a huge lizard in her arms. Cove's eyebrow rose at that. He leaned forward with interest. A lizard? Where'd that come from? Elizabeth saw it half buried in the sand and didn't know what it was, so she pulled it out and got the answer. So she brought it home. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Ma were not happy. They were worried about putting it out. Hey! I'm getting mad about these people just walking in front. No! They have no right to do that. Seriously. I'm gonna be putting up no trespass signs. Okay, Mom and Ma were not happy. They were worried about putting it out during the night, but she was going to have to let it go in the morning. Lizzie was really upset. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. You laugh thinking about that time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she fought grudges quickly. Now it wasn't so easy. Cove has been quiet most of the story, apart from the reveal of the lizard. He had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have a sibling. Oh gosh. Okay, so yeah, that little bugged me. Just, I don't like it when they do that. Like, you can't do that, like, confront them. I mean, I would, but there's crazy people in the world. You seriously thought to a statement before you told them. There's ups and downs. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Cub pursed his lips at the words, considering them partly for a while. That's interesting. I think your family's cool. He didn't have much else to say. The wall, the top of your family, you were considering your relationship with your moms too. You had disagreements with them, but in the end of the day, you loved them and they loved you. That's what really mattered. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your mom never tried to pay someone to be your friend. Soup. That thought prompted you to look over Cove. You probably still didn't know that happened. Your dad and Mr. Holden mentioned it, and you never had. You wondered if you should. No, don't. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. What if he got really upset? Just thinking about his possible reaction made you nervous. Time had seemed to pass at a crawl. The two of you spent most of it without speaking a word. Cope flipped through the pages of a book he wasn't actually reading while you tried to entertain yourself by looking around his room. Eventually you heard a muffled laughter. What? A muffled holler from the different part of the house. You and Cove raised your head in union. Time for dinner. Cove watched the firmly shut door he had been locked behind for most of the night, but he didn't make a move to get up from bed. You could see his face. You didn't know what expression he was wearing. I'm glad you came. I'm happy to hear. You weren't sure what prompted him to say that, nor you realized it. It was how he felt. But that was better than him being mad at you that you were there. Cove said nothing else and remained sat where he was. Now would be a good time to ask him why his parents suddenly wanted you to come over. Cove didn't say anything at first. You thought he wouldn't answer at all, only for him to speak up. It's been awkward here. Sometimes when it's just the three of us all together. Probably why he waited for more, but this time he didn't talk further. There was another shout from outside, too muffled to actually know the words, but you could imagine what they were. Let's go. Cove finally got up, lumbered away, and with his shoulders sagged, you followed after him. Together, the two of you made your way back down to the living room. I think that's going to be it for today. We'll stop here. It's a perfect time to stop. But thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go. Bye.